There we go. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There we go. All right, we in business. Sorry,
Okay.
everyone's over there like, I didn't see the comments like, we can hear you, we can hear you. I'm over here just screaming at the computer.
Okay, good,
What's
man.
up,
Good.
bro? What's up?
Life is going, man.
Dude, the beard.
We're landing some deals and
So, dude,
yeah.
Nothing's important right now except for the beard, bro. Tell me about the beard. Beard is going, dude. How long are we looking at for this beard?
I mean, probably about since the time, I think since I started landing some deals and I wasn't having to work so much.
I love it, dude. And
I have to wear a mask all day, so it's pretty rough to have a beard and mustache. So now that I'm only working like once a week, I can grow it out.
dude.
And so far, my wife says to keep it going. So until she says to chop it off, we'll let it go for a little bit.
When you get the blessing of the significant other, it's game over. Because
She's the one who has to look at me.
It's like my buddy that just got his first tattoo. He's like, dude, now that I did it, it was like tattoo or no. Now I got one. It's like I could get 20. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah,
so
true.
You're going, dude. So guys, next time we get AJ on here, he'll probably be at 50K. His beard's going to be down to here. I guarantee his back, he's going to be slouched because of his money problems. It's going to be hurting his back. But dude, tell everybody real quick, give them a little bit of background. Where are you based at right now?
I am just south of Harrisonburg, Virginia, in the Shenandoah Valley.
How's the weather right now, dude? Is it cold?
It's getting cold at night. Today it was like over 70 during the day and sunny. It was beautiful. Started off rainy, but then it got really nice.
Beautiful. Okay.
We're loving it.
I did know that. I've actually been to that town. Is that where John Brown's at? Is there what's they'll call it? Or James Madison. Not
University.
John.
Yeah.
I've been to that town, bro. It's random, but I have. I think we talked about
Oh, really? Yeah. So, we like it.
So you're in Virginia, and tell everyone what you were doing. I know you're still like kind of in it, but you're phasing out. But when we talked, I think you were full-time, if not at least 4 days a week, right?
Yeah. Well, full-time for me is 3 days a week because it's 3/12s. Okay. So I've been a dialysis nurse for 14 and a half years now.
Holy cow.
Generally work 3/12s, but with what I do, 12-hour days can turn into 14, 18. I've done a 21-hour day before because I'm not done till all the patients are taken care of. So, what you were talking about of not having to go in when somebody else says, that's absolutely resonating with me. So done nursing for a long time. I got into the other group that shall not be named.
There, go ahead.
I think probably just a couple months after you. Okay. So was it 2016, I think?
Yep. Yeah.
So I've been in almost as long as you. Jumped in, we got all hyped about it, started building sites. A lot of our due diligence wasn't good to start off with. And we couldn't sell. Terrible at selling. Had only been a nurse, didn't have any entrepreneurial background, not for our parents or anything. So we struggled, and then we kept having shiny object syndrome. We jumped from one thing to another. We always thought it was going to be the savior that would make everything come together, and that could then fund our lead gen, because we always believed in lead gen. That's why we got into this. We didn't get into it to be SEO, website builders extraordinaire. We wanted to do the lead gen because that's what made sense. 100%. Kept trying different things, Google, ads, Facebook ads, Facebook marketing, and it just never really worked out. And I think so much of it was the sales process. It was always kind of this, if you build it, they will come. If you launch the ads and get some leads, people will just start handing money to you. But we sucked at the sales side. So beginning of this year, we were starting to get back into lead gen. We were like, okay, we're going to commit to it. I had this whole plan written out the end of last year. If we build this many sites, I had a couple people on commission deals, but they really weren't paying me jack.
Welcome to commission.
And so in January, I found this group, and I actually remember I had a file in Facebook of saved posts from you from probably 2-3 years ago. And I was like, oh man, he was killing it with the Go Fast Look Sexy. And I was like, man, this guy's really getting it together. I may have even messaged you at some point, or just at least I saved your posts, but I still wasn't really quite sure how to put it together. So when I don't think anyone even invited me. I think it was just like a suggested group.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I know this guy. He's killing it. So let me see what he's doing. I went through every single post at the time that was in the group, all the videos you had done. I built out my own Google Docs of just writing out your entire process. Was like, this is so good. I mean, I went in on it and I closed the deal.
I love
And
it.
that's when I was like, okay, if I'm closing it without the free stuff, and I had to convince my wife, she was on the call.
Yeah.
I had to convince her, but it's because we had bought so many more programs, and every time we were like, we thought this was going to be the key that would unlock it.
Yep.
And it never worked. So we were really leery about buying another program, but I knew that it was always the sales part that we needed to get down. I closed the deal, and ultimately I was like, okay, I think that I could take all this knowledge that I've gained from your free group and close more deals. But I knew that if I missed any deals, I was just going to be nagging at me if there was something that I was missing. So I decided that I would rather spend the next 6 months landing deals rather than trying to go back and figure out what little things I was missing. And, I get paralysis by analysis really badly. So I knew that if I was constantly searching for that secret little thing, it was going to prevent me from getting deals. So that's why I jumped in.
I love it, dude. And that's what's so interesting. And I always say that it's like, people don't realize if I just showed you my due diligence process, right? Because you mentioned it, right? I was the same as you. It doesn't matter what group you're coming from. If that person does not have a good due diligence, and for those that are new, what that means is like how to pick a city and niche combination. If that's messed up, you're going to do what me and AJ did, which is go and build 10, 20, in my case, 200 websites in the wrong niche and the wrong city, only to realize 6 months later, dude, these are never going to rank.
Yeah.
Right.
And even recently, I think in late 2020, I bought a pack of done for you built websites,
right?
20 of them. And I pretty much just killed all of them just the other day.
Dude, I
didn't have that much into them, but still hurts.
What it is though, dude. Like, it sucks, but the way I look at it is like, we learned and I'm just taking it as a lesson learned, but no, that's what people don't understand. They're like, yeah, cool. Like, that's great. But like, what if you got the first one, the second one, you like, don't know, at least when you jumped in, you're like, okay, now I know this box is checked, this box, yeah. I can confidently go and build. You know what I always hated about other programs? It was like, hey, if you build 10 and only 6 of them hit or 4 of them hit, the math still works. I'm like, I want all of them to hit, bro.
Well, that's the amazing thing. So you'll probably ask this, but I've got 8 lead gen clients landed this year from your product.
Really quick, while we're on that, tell them how much you're making per month gross and how much of that is lead gen. Because I think you have 1 SEO client now, but yeah, tell them the metrics real quick.
Yeah, so I've got 1 SEO client that was like a long-term client, came back to me last year, and I started SEO. That's like $2,800 a month, so it's a pretty good chunk. Yeah. But I'm at $12,150 per month flat fee lead gen with those 8 clients.
Beautiful. So your average is like 1,200 plus.
Yeah. It was doing a little bit better than that, but a few guys lately, I've cut them some slack to keep them going through the winter. We'll kind of see how it goes.
And real quick, how much were you at lead gen in January? Flat fee? 0. Dude, you're crazy.
0. Nothing.
I love it.
Literally, I had one guy local to me doing concrete, and he talked up a game. Oh, I'm the greatest salesman. You're blessed to have me. But he sucked. And then he was only on commission, And I don't know. I mean, I think probably over 6 months, he maybe paid me $1,500, and I was sending him like 15 to 20 organic leads every month regularly. Um, and I was even trying to do like some tree service with him. I launched some other websites in different areas because he, kept telling me it was going to be amazing. We're going to make all kinds of money. And then I jumped in your program and I was like, okay, let's see if I can convert him to flat fee. And he was just not having it at all.
Yeah.
So I took those sites that I built for him and I've since sold them, and I'm making like 2250 a month off of those sites. Well, and plus the original site that I had for him, which I just upsold that guy to an 1800 a month for 12 months because I'm building him a website for his own business as well.
Dude, okay. So I'm listening to this and these numbers, I'm all like, it gets me excited to hear this, but like, I know there's people that are watching this and they're like, okay, it sounds fake. If you've never made money doing this, these numbers, even you hear them every week. We do these calls, like 1,800, 2,200. Like, it sounds like, wait, really? Did you, when you first heard of this business model, were you like, yeah, mate, like, I don't know. Like, did you have any of those doubts? Because I know for me, like in some of these other groups, they shall not be named, I would see these like posts and I'm like, ain't no way that dude's making that kind of cash. Like, I just thought it was all like a thing, but like, did you ever have any of those like doubts? I'm just calling it out. I know there's someone out here that's thinking that.
I mean, especially early on when I would struggle, I'd be like, I would timidly ask someone to pay me $500 a month for a site that was generating some pretty good leads. And they hemmed and hawed and no, it didn't want to. Maybe they did it for a little bit and then they canceled. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was possible to be putting up these kinds of numbers. I'm still kind of pinching myself, and I've honestly been in a slump lately of sales, but it's totally my fault because I get lazy. I get cocky and I've been like, oh, I've been selling stuff. Now I don't really need to work for a month. And then my pipeline is dry, and I'm working on that. That's my biggest issue, is learning how to be a business owner myself. But then I stop and I'm like, geez, a year ago, I was at 0 flat fee lead gen. A year and a half ago, I was at 0 period. And now I have a process that I can follow and just keep adding it on. And, they don't all work out. I'm looking, I think I've had about 20 Zoom calls, sales closes this year. So since March, I think February or March. Of those, I think 13 I've actually closed and gotten at least some money from. Now 8 are what?
Out of 22?
Out of 19. Okay. I'm looking at, out of 19,
good.
I've closed 13 to get some money, but must be like 5 of those did not continue. But the beautiful thing was that at least several of those, I still got money from them. I still covered the ads. Like, I was running ads for 2, 3, 4 weeks, however long, and they closed, they signed the 6-month contract, or maybe they didn't. They were with me for, a week, 2 weeks, 2 months, and then they left, but I still made money.
Yeah.
It wasn't building something for 6 months or a year, and then you got nothing to show for it. I got money from them to cover my costs and then some, even if I went through the close process and they left me. I mean, it's the rent then rank. It's the way to do it. The only way I'm going to do it now.
If Drake were in this business, he'd call it rent now, rank later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So one thing that you mentioned at the very beginning, I just don't want to forget to say this, is I think that's the biggest tragedy with this whole business model is people get in, they love the idea. Oh, we build these sites, they're assets, like, okay, cool. And then they realize they build it and then they start doing SEO and they're like, hey, what do we do for 6 months? Right?
Yeah.
And that's why so many people have the same story as I do, as you do, as so many people I know, that they're like, well, we got to make money. So let's take on an SEO gig. Let's take on a website. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's consult. And before you know it, bro, you've been in the game 5 years. You're making a little bit of extra money, but you are trading your time for dollars, and you do not have a business. You just have like these gigs, essentially, right? So the thing that I love the most about pre-selling is it eliminates that. It allows you to make money essentially from day one, and you do not have to go and take on those like bridge the gap gigs that we've been taught to take on in other groups. It's like, no, you focus on one thing, you focus on one niche, you focus on one deal structure, and watch what happens. And that's what's amazing. So
yeah.
So I got to get into this though. So how I want to ask you, so you're married. How long you been married?
18 years.
18 years. There's so many points that I could point out, like the fact that you're like, oh, we were hesitant to buy a program. Me too, because I had made, you buy one and then you don't do it, then your wife or your husband or they're like, oh, here we go again, right?
Yep. Yep.
But I want to talk more about, you've been married 18 years, kids?
4 of them.
I knew, yeah, how many? So 4 kids and a full-time gig, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So how have you managed to, now you do have a really good setup because yours is all jammed into a couple days, but you know what I do know about people with jobs like yours, the day after those 3 days, you don't have a lot of energy.
Yeah. And that's what I'm still struggling with is I've been doing it for so long of work a long day, take a day off, work a long day, take a day off, and especially when those days turn into a 14, 15, 16-hour day. And I would do call at night, at least once or twice a week. And if you get called in the middle of the night, that totally screws it up because you get called in at 11, you're working till 3, 4 a.m., you're toast the next day. And even if you don't, there's still kind of like I've had it where they called me and said, hey, you might need to come in at like 11 o'clock. And I'm like, Frank, it's nighttime. I'm trying to sleep. If I need to come in, call me in. If you're not sure, keep it to yourself. So
yeah, just don't let it be on my mind, man.
Yes, that's a little venting for me. But yeah, so the way I did it, honestly, I get a little over anxious, over committed. I did start scaling back my hours as soon as I could. And especially because, signed up into your program in March. I had already closed the one deal, but then it took me over 30 days to close the next deal. And part of that was, I think I was going back to some old sites that I had ranked, and I was trying to sell those. And they were probably still not like the best niche, but I did get them sold. Took me a little bit of time. And then kind of as soon as I could, I started scaling back my hours, which is the nice thing about nursing is, I can kind of work as much or as little as I want. So I think starting in May, May and June, I worked 2 days a week. And then since July, I've been working 1-ish day per week. September, I didn't work a single day because we did some traveling and did some stuff. So,
yeah. Here's another question I have is like, a lot of people, well, not a lot, but some people, they get in, to this business, they get a deal or maybe 2 deals or whatever. And I feel like they kind of get complacent. And like, the reason I wanted to have you on is because you did it and you haven't stopped, right? Like you've kept going. You're making, by the way, with his SEO deal, he's making close to 15K per month. Like I want to get more people that I want the standard to be, hey, you got to be at 10K. Like until you get there, we're not even taking a breath, like a deep breath. What was your mentality once you got those first couple deals? Like, I think it would have been really easy for you to be like, cool, that's some good, like, additional income. and now I can just work my regular thing, have a little bit more money. Like what was it mindset wise that you had to tell yourself so that you kept going to get to 10K and then keep going? Because that's what I'm trying to get people to wrap their head around. It's like, how do you live on 10K, man?
Yeah. Yeah.
There with 4 kids too, bro. Come on.
I know, man. It's well, we just bought a house in November, and it's a significant increase for us. The last couple of years, we had been homeschooling. We started putting our kids into private school. I mean, I tell you what, these bills are stacking up, and even at the 15K, I am not comfortable, not at all. It's not enough. And I mean, shoot, not to get too sidetracked, but I was resonating with what you were saying. I think it was the bagel call you were just doing in the paid group. Talking about being at Disneyland eating PB&J versus going to the restaurant. I'm like, I mean, it gets expensive to take our whole family out to just Chick-fil-A gets expensive, no, let alone a nice restaurant. And I'm just at the point where I want to be like, guys, we don't have to like split meals. Let's everybody order what you want. I still feel like I'm not quite there.
You'll get there.
But it's nice to start seeing that be on the horizon, because I've got a process that's repeatable. And I think that was key, is that once I finally found a process that worked, and it was pretty dang quick, you can't help but just want to keep doing it. My problem, so 2 things that were driving me. One was that I'm was really tired of nursing. Right. Nursing was rough, especially through COVID, just kind of screwed everything up. You just get tired of having to wear the mask every day for such a long time, still to this day. And I got really tired of people dictating my schedule to me. You could ask Pearl, she would attest that I would get so heated when I would get called in for when I didn't really need to go in, when a doctor would, whatever, when I was having to go in when I didn't want to go in, when you wanted to have a day off and you had to like put in the request months in advance. Somebody else already requested that day, so you couldn't both be gone at the same time. You're having to try and swap days with somebody, and nobody wants to swap. Having to go in on holidays, having to have my phone on and ready to go in while I was at church on Sunday mornings. It just sucks, and I was really tired of that. So that's. I probably was jumping ship and cutting my hours a little too early. It would have been nice to have that extra income to be putting into more ads and just give myself a little bit more buffer. But I was just tired of it. I was ready to be done. And we've been working on this for like over 6 years now. We had this dream 6 years ago to go full time, right, and work from home, have the laptop lifestyle. And it's finally coming to fruition. It was embarrassing for me to be like, yeah, I've been doing this for 6 years and I'm basically making zero money. Yeah. And I have money going out every month for the websites and tracking numbers and domain names and everything. And backlinks that I bought, a long time ago, and nothing to show for it. And I finally got the process that allows me to fulfill these dreams. So yeah, I just kind of can't help but go for it. And it is interesting. So April and May, I landed several deals. June, I got kind of cocky. Summer hit, kids were out. I really didn't do much work. So I don't think I had anything in June. I think there was one deal that I thought I was going to close at the very end of June, and it didn't pan out. So then July, I was like, oh crap, I really got to buckle down and get this going. So then July and August were great. September, I took off again. So now October, again, I'm scrambling. I thought I was going to have a deal closed last week. Guy changed his mind. Guy bailed on a Zoom call on me this morning. So that's why I was watching your bagel video. So,
But you know what I want to say on that is that's the beautiful part. Like, not that you should be complacent, but if all that business was SEO, it would be the most terrifying thing in the world, because if you go a couple months where you're not adding a client, or even 1 month, next month it's going to drop. And listen, dude, you've taken in the last 6 months, 2 months off basically, and maybe even more, and you are still making amazing money. Yeah, you're going to have some turnover. Yeah, you're going to lose some clients because they can't close deals. But that's what I love about this. And you know what you're going to love the most? You're going to come into winter. And last year, those little commission deals that didn't pay much anyway, paid almost nothing in the winter. And your income is not going to change. You're going to have a great Christmas. It's like, I used to dread winter because it would just dip with my pay-per-lead and my SEO, because this is when clients would start to cancel, right? Things got slow. You start cutting the bill. So, dude, I love hearing you say, I've been trying to do this for 6 years, and we're finally, I don't think you should be embarrassed by that. Thank goodness you didn't give up on it. But it also goes and is like a testament to the fact of, like, everyone thinks because you can build a website and generate a lead, that is the missing piece. That is not the missing piece. Yeah. You're way better off to flip it, learn how to sell it. And maybe I'm wrong. That's how I feel. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. 100%. The sales is the much better skill. And, multiple times over this journey, I've kind of tried to see if I could find a partner to kind of do the sales part. But it's like, if you can sell, you have your pick of who to work with. So if I'm saying, hey, I'll do the SEO and the back end stuff, if you just sell, it's like, you got to be giving them a really good deal. You see in these groups, everyone is like, hey, looking for a partner to sell. Hey, looking for a partner to sell. Partner to sell. No one's saying, hey, I need someone to do the back end. Like, it's a dime a dozen. So it's the sales that drives everything. And yeah, I'm still kind of looking to nail down what niche I really want to stick with and really run hard on. I just had a turf client who he's been with me now 2 months, and he's closed 3 deals for over $70,000 or $80,000. So he is real happy. He is really happy. There's, some of the smaller guys, honestly, it is so true. The bigger clients, they're so much easier to deal with. It's the little guys that just keep pissing me off, because they send me a text saying, hey, are there any new customers? I'm like, dude, if there's a new customer, I'll send it to you. You don't need to text me.
Yeah.
Where some of these other guys who are paying a lot more, honestly, I'm kind of like, oh man, I might need to call them up, because it's been really slow getting them leads, but they haven't said a word to me. They just keep paying. They're doing their own thing. They're taking care of their clients, and I presume making money. And then some of these guys, yeah, it's awesome when they text you and they're like, just, close 2 deals for $25,000 each. It's really, it's amazing, because I've been in this long enough that I have seen all the posts. I've seen people doing the posts about, oh, I just made my client all this money. Oh, I just landed this really easy deal. Oh, I'm making, doing this, doing that. And I will believe them. But a lot of times I also just get really pissed because I'm jealous. Yeah. I'm like, man, how are these guys doing this? I remember when you joined the group a year ago. I've been in this group for 5 years, and now you've surpassed me all of a sudden. And it used to kind of really piss me off. I'm getting to the point where I can be much happier for those people, because I'm having that trajectory as well. So it feels really good to finally have it come full circle. I've got those texts from my clients saying they made all this money. I've got the Stripe account that shows things going up. I've got my list of clients on the wall. I mean, it's
You
kind
know
of
what
amazing.
I was gonna say in the beginning when you said, "Oh, I've got this $1,800 deal, 2,200." After you got your first couple deals in the program and following the process, I guarantee you probably had that moment where you're like, "Okay, I don't think Nick is as impressive as I did," because once you get a $2,000 a month deal, your wheels start to turn. You go, "That's how he did 100K." Because I think it's almost
Yeah.
unbelievable when you hear those numbers and you like you said, you're asking people for $500 and they're like, "Oh my gosh." But when you get a $2,000, 2,500, you're like, "Okay, I can see you just need 50 of these." Like that's it. One, like that's it. And you could get there, or we go a little bigger. So I gotta admit, like, as much as I'm an arrogant piece of shit sometimes, it's not that I'm that impressive. It's just that I figured out, okay, at 2,000, 2,500 bucks a month, and you do the same process over and over, you don't need that
Yeah.
many clients to make a lot of money, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, using the lead value calculator is huge. And the thing is, I knew about that calculator for years. Maybe it was even
Didn't know
one of
how
your
to use it,
posts in
right?
the other group.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw it. I was like, oh, that's really smart. But then I didn't know how to fit it into the process and have it make sense and really show the person the kind of value with some leads up front, getting the information, being bold, asking them the questions that need to be asked. And yeah, it's made such a huge difference. And now, you know, I mean, I'm, I have some flexible still at this point, but some standards of how much I'm going to charge somebody because I know what it's worth. And those standards keep raising, the first time I started landing some deals over $1,000 a month, flat fee with the contract. I mean, it's like you said, it's the holy grail of lead gen. And the first time I did it, I was just blown away that it actually worked and that they actually agreed to it and that we're still going strong, it's just an amazing thing when you start to change your mental attitude as to what things are worth.
You know what? My favorite thing about I always say this every time, but I wish, and maybe I'll start doing this, but I wish people could see you in March on our call when we were, talking about, okay, here's what it looks like to work with digital landlords, blah, blah, blah. At the time, it's called Flat Fee Mastery. Dude, just your confidence. And I'm not just going to give the beard credit, bro, although that does help. I know on a real note, it's so cool to me to see people like your confidence level. You might not have noticed it. Maybe your wife probably has more than you, but I've noticed it just in our conversation so far is like night and day difference from when you're like, yeah, I believe in the business model, but I'm a little uncertain. And like, I do nursing, but I don't love it. And I'm not necessarily proud of it, to now it's like, dude, I make my own money. I set my own schedule. I can do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. So it's just cool to
Yeah.
see like how this affects people's confidence. And it's not just you, it's me. It's anybody that gets into this, dude. It's really, really cool.
Well, it's amazing what happens when you kind of start providing for yourself in a way. I had a friend who a couple years ago, he got heavily into the Airbnb space, started doing really great. And his wife told me, like, yeah, it's been amazing to see the difference in him since he has gotten out of his job. And it was actually a job that he really enjoyed, but he got out of that and started like working his own schedule, doing the things that he wanted to do. And I met with him for lunch at one point, and this was before any of this happened. And I was like, man, I want to be where you're at. I want to figure this out. And I could just, see the joy and freedom that he had in his life. And I was like, I want that. And it really does feel amazing to start getting there. Definitely not all the way there, but to be making the steady progress there.
That's cool.
And, I mean, having this as something that I can pass on to my kids, even if it's not the business, but just the attitude the abilities to go out and build your own business, make your own income, have your own freedom. It's just invaluable.
When you make your own money, it automatically boosts your confidence, because now it's not like, I don't know about you, but like, dude, recession, not recession, I'm like, cool. I am my own guy. And here's a one step past that. Not only do you know how to make your own money, but you know how to sell, right?
Mhm.
Which means you now, like when 2020 happened, dude, I was a heyday for me, because I was like, cool, this is awesome. Like, I'm just going to stay up here and work while everyone else is watching the Tiger King or whatever, right?
Right.
Which admittedly I did watch on a
Yeah.
weekend. Shout out to Tiger King. But dude, when you know how to make your own money, that you're not at a job, relying on somebody else, and you know how to sell, like, dude, let's be real. If you actually buckled down, got to work, set your schedule, and like, hey, I'm going hard for the next 2 quarters, it's kind of scary to think where you could be.
Yeah.
Because dude, let's be real. You've gotten to 12 almost kind of like just by default. Like, yeah, you put in work, but like, you've also taken a month off twice, which, dude, I'm not hating. I think it's amazing. Like, and everyone listening should be like, wait, what? Like, can you imagine taking a month off of nursing? Like, you wouldn't even be able to live.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah. You would feel it 2 weeks later when that paycheck is at zero. And I was able to roll through it. I mean, not perfectly, but we were able to roll through it, and we're doing okay. And yeah, speaking to the confidence, it really does start to bleed over into everything in your life. And I was talking to my dad earlier this summer and just kind of tell him about what I've been doing and about making some sales. And he was like, yeah, buddy, I can hear the confidence in your voice and the change. And I am starting to think more along the sales line, like when I'm talking with my clients and I'm talking with other people who have businesses or even work in a corporate world where they work with sales. And I'm kind of like, well, what's your sales process? Like, how do we get the sales process going? That's the heartbeat of any business.
That's a great point, because you have a nursing background. You would, if somebody would have asked you at the beginning of the year, hey, would you consider yourself a salesman? You would have gone, hell no. That's the part that, like, I have the most, I'm the most self-conscious about. I'm the most insecure about that part, because I just don't have any confidence. Now, I would probably argue that, like, if you had, like you just said, that's probably the side you're like, dude, you start getting a couple deals, you realize it's actually, not only is it not that scary, it's the most fun and rewarding part of the whole thing. You know what I mean?
It is. I still don't enjoy it that much, but I'm getting better.
You might not enjoy the prospecting, but the closing is a piece of cake.
It is better. And actually, I really actually don't mind the prospecting too much, partly because time and time again, I find it to be so easy. I'll have my list and I'm like, okay, really don't want to do this. I procrastinated all day. I've done every other project that I can work on. I have to do some prospecting before I go, pick up the kids and have dinner and the day is shot. I'm like, okay, I'm going to call 5 people. That's it. Oftentimes, number one, I'm like, oh, you'll take the leads? Okay. All right, sweet. Well, let me send one your way. Or it'll be like I'll be like, okay, I'm going to make one more call, just one more call. And then I got to go pick up the kids or something. And that'll be the one. And time and again, I got to get off the phone and I'm like, Pearl, this is so easy. This is ridiculously easy. Now, granted, they don't always pan out. I needed to get better at vetting people before I get too far with them. It's an imperfect process, but it's put me so much further. I mean, again, I've done 19 Zoom call closes this year alone in the past 6-7 months. That's 19 more than I've done in the last
I was just gonna ask
years,
you, how
right?
many Zoom call closes, attempted closes, did you do in 2021?
In 2021, none. I mean,
amazing.
And I don't think I ever, even counting like sales calls, like attempts at getting, man, I mean, I had an HBAC site that was doing some organic stuff. I've had it for a long time. I think in 2020, I think it was 2021, we went through like 3 or 4 guys. Actually, I think it was mostly Pearl. We got like a few $100 out of some guys. One of them turned out to be a legit crook. He like stole $2,000 from one of the leads, and I was getting calls from detective and stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. But it turned out okay. But I mean, so maybe 3 or 4 calls all of 2021, and they didn't really result in much of anything.
But that's what's interesting is it makes sense. If you want to make more money, you have to make more offers. You have to ask more people for money. But if you don't have a sales process, I'm sure last year you were like, where do I make, like, who do I ask for money? Like, you're just hoping for a referral or a Facebook post or I just stumbled into this guy at Starbucks and he needs leads because there's no confidence. And now it's like you did 19, but next year you could easily double that. It just would be, okay, let me just mathematically figure out what I need to do. That's the exciting part, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I was looking at my financial statements, which I need to get better at organizing all that. Again, I'm working on being a business owner, but last year we did just over $17,000 gross. And about 10,000 of that was this SEO client that kind of just landed in my lap. I think I had a website sale, some hosting from people that I built stuff a long time ago, maybe a few of those lead gen people that never panned out, some like a commission thing, like real little fluke spatterings of money here and there, totaled to like 17,000 the whole year.
Right.
So far this year, I think we're at about 87,000 gross.
You're about, dude. So yeah, you're going to hit 6 figures this year. Yeah, you should. It should be really
close.
I
think, we should. Yeah, we should crack 6 figures with our agency. Some of that is SEO and other random stuff, but the vast majority is flat fee lead gen, auto pay with a contract.
Amazing. Yeah, on strike, baby. That's the best feeling in the world. By the way, guys, as I'm wrapping up, if you have any questions, I'm going to do like 5 minutes of any questions that you want to ask AJ really quick. But as I say that, dude, the best feeling in the world is that first time you have the weekly or the monthly and the stripe. I get the emails, and it's like, refresh your email. It's like, oh, a deposit of $2,000 is on its way to your bank, and you're just like, oh my gosh, dude, let's freaking go, baby. Yeah,
I'm used to a bi-weekly paycheck, right? And so sometimes it comes in irregularly, and a bunch of my clients have gotten stacked up in like the second half of the month. And so the first half of the month, towards the middle of the month, I start kind of being like, I feel like funds are getting a little tight. And then all of a sudden I get like 3 or 4 of those emails in a row, and I'm like, holy crap, I just got like 5-6 grand over this past week. That's way more than I've ever made nursing. And it just it's like that, the proverbial mailbox money, and it feels really good. It feels really good.
It's such a good feeling. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to see if anybody has any questions. We'll take it for about 5 minutes. If nobody does, then we will just end it. But let me go ahead and check. All right. Okay, so here's a couple quick ones. All right, I'm seeing everyone. I'm going up, and everyone's like telling me I'm an idiot when I couldn't hear you, bro. Sorry.
That's okay.
Hey, that right there is the point, right? You don't need to be technically gifted or know anything about tech to make a lot of money. You just need to know how to sell. But Jordan said, dude,
oh gosh, that keeps happening to me where, I get a client on and, it's like 5 minutes of fumbling around. Oh, I can't hear you. Can't see you. Hit this, hit that, get out, get back in. A couple of them, they've had their teenage kids come and fix it for them so they could get on. And yeah.
I love it. Okay. Jennifer Lewis says, how do you decide how much you're going to charge them on a weekly or monthly basis? You can answer that really quick. I know that we've talked
Lead
about that.
value calculator. Now there does come a point where you're kind of making a judgment call of how much you want to push. I'd probably need to be pushing a little bit more. But yeah, you use the lead value calculator and justify your price to yourself and to them, and then you got to go for it. And it's surprising.
I think it's what is a lead worth.com, no spaces. One of our landlords in our group built that tool for everybody to use. And yeah, you're right. I honestly, AJ, I think that tool, using that tool, and by the way, if you search this group, there's a bunch of different, we've talked about it before. I think that tool is the biggest thing it does is it helps you justify it to yourself so that when you go to ask for it, you have confidence. I think it does more on that end than on the other, but it is cool to show the business owner, hey, even if we only get you 12 leads, and even if you only close at half of what you thought you were going to close at, you're still making double your money. And it's like, it allows them to logically justify them spending $2,000 a month.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely critical.
It's gangster, and it's very simple. So, okay, Chad Durfee says that 15K profit or rev, that's total revenue, Chad. And if you're new to this group, which I don't know if you are, how we do this is there is going to be some ad costs in the beginning with these clients because we are going to land the deal up front. And then as your SEO kicks in, that increases. Although I know AJ's been doing this long enough that some of his deals, I'm sure, are probably mostly profit because he had sites that were ranking, producing leads.
Yeah. A few of them.
And
I think most of them now probably are ad based. And it's cool actually with the HVAC site that I sold. It's another one of those where the due diligence was not nearly as good as I thought, and I never should have gotten into it. It's super competitive, and it's been old enough, and I've poked away at it enough that earlier this year, over the summer, it just kind of started getting a whole bunch of leads. I literally sold the guy, and I sold him kind of cheap because I was like, well, it's all organic, so it's not costing me much. It'll be all profit.
Right.
Soon as I sold him, I checked my GMB ranking again, and it just took a nosedive. Just absolutely, it froze up. But using your ad campaign stuff with I think I made a few tweaks to it here and there, messed around with it a little bit, I got leads coming back in. And then I've poked away at it. I've gotten a little bit more organic stuff coming in, but I'm still running ads, and he's getting a whole bunch of leads. And it's kind of a cool one because he wants to dominate the entire state. So he's got big plans, and I plan to grow with him.
That's cool, dude. And you know what? What's funny too about that is sometimes I think we're doing people a solid by charging them a little bit of money. And I found in my case that when you do that, it actually, it's worse because then they don't value the leads as much. So I'm sure you've seen this, just like you said, you said this already. The more you charge people, the more they value this. The leads could be the exact same, but if you charge them 2,000 instead of 500, they're going to value the leads more.
Yeah. It really is true.
Ramsey says, what's the first step to getting started? Just found you yesterday. Ramsey's, kick around in this group. There's tons of free stuff. I have a link. It's called rentsimplesites.com. If you go to that, you can get the free training that kind of just gives you an intro, but there is some amazing content right here. Lance Hill says, curious where AJ lives, and because he must have joined late, he lives in Virginia. I'm just going to bust through these real quick. Nathaniel says, do you still run smart campaigns? Yes, still running smart campaigns. Let me see if I can get one more question and then we'll end this thing. Let's see. Let's do this one.
There's a lot of people on this video.
Yeah.
A lot more than when I was first poking around in the group.
Yeah, I remember the first live that we had one person on the call, and I ripped just as hard, but I was like, thank you whoever you are. I think it was Josh Sanchez, who's a part of Digital Landlords now. But I remember being like, dude, bless this, God bless this guy, because it was like 10 people in the group and one of them stayed on the whole time. I was like, cool. And now here we are, and we've had like 70, 80 plus the whole time, which is amazing.
Yeah.
All right. I want to end with this question right here because I think it's a good one, and then we'll end this thing. Micah Peck says, what roles do you split with your wife?
I'm hoping to make it change. The goal has always been that we could do something together. At this point in time, it's been making more sense for her to deal with the kids, deal with the household stuff, and me to just kind of rip on selling. We were actually talking just today about trying to split it a little bit more. Might actually try and have her do some more of the setting and then have me kind of do a follow-up secondary vetting on them to kind of tag team them a little bit more. So I think we're gonna try and start working on it together a little bit more. At times, I mean, she's more than capable. For the longest time, she made the most sales for us because she like landed an SEO client or 2 years ago. So she's very capable, and she's actually much more aggressive than I am with questioning people and calling people to task, calling out bullshit. So we're definitely looking to get that. We've been in a funny season with like summer and kids were home and trying to get people ready for school and just a whole bunch of things hitting all at the same time. So don't have a great answer for that right now. I'm hoping to split it a little bit more. Yeah, we'll keep trying. I mean, that's the dream, is that, we can have 2 desks side by side, back to back, whatever, making phone calls, working the business, not having to go outside to try and find other people to help us manage it too much, but really being able to do a lot of it ourselves together. That's been the dream for years. And I think we'll start getting there, or maybe we'll make enough money that we'll just hire a bunch of VAs and hire other people to do it. So then we can, work less and spend more time together.